From Topeka to Broadway and back, Washburn Rural alum Jeff Crady is making his mark in the theater world, and now he and his family are debuting a holiday show in his hometown. So we are so blessed to be on Jeff's Topeka tour this week. That's what I'm calling it, because you've been everywhere.
I've tried.
I mean, it's nice to see your family, but you really haven't been seeing your family.
No,
What have you all been doing around town this week?
I've been doing as much as I can to get the word out about this concert. I'm so excited about it. The Crady Holiday Spectacular, presented by Core First Bank and Trust at the Topeka Performing Arts Center on December 23rd at 6:30 p.m. It is going to be a concert unlike anything Topeka has ever seen before. I truly believe that. So this week I've been going out to the area high schools to talk to the high school kids and invite them to perform with us, because this is going to be a community event. That's what I envision this as. It's going to be Nikki and me singing with a full symphony of musicians hired from the Topeka Symphony Orchestra. We're going to have the Shawnee Choral Society with high school kids singing with them. It is going to be all Topeka, and that's why I'm so excited about this.
You know, you thought you were going to get off cheap with your cast, but I understand that some of your cast members drove a very hard bargain.
Yes, my daughters, Lena and Louise,
are how old?
9 and 5 years old.
And they've been paying attention when mom and dad are negotiating their contracts.
That is true. That is true. We are going to have them performing with us on the concert, and my 9-year-old said, "You know, Daddy, you and Mommy get paid to do concerts sometimes, so we were thinking that we should be paid." And then they negotiated 2 Barbie dolls.
That's a tough deal.
It's a steep price, but it's one I'm willing to pay because I think it's worth it.
I think it's going to be very worth it. And it's so fun because you do involve your family on some of your social media sites. There have been videos of you all singing together and performing together. They're really getting in the game early.
Oh, they are. They're extremely talented. And so to be able to include the whole family in this, it's just, it's going to be magical, I think.
You planned this show out yourselves. This is a debut show for you.
Yes.
You're like, well, we got to do something, so let's just make it up ourselves.
Yeah.
So I thought of some Christmas questions. I was trying to think, what can I ask you to try and get a little insight into how you put this show together?
Ready.
So, ice skating or sledding?
Sledding.
Sledding. Even though you emceed the ice skating rink opening last weekend.
And I almost put on the ice skates, but I remembered the last time I tried to ice skate, I was overly ambitious and I ended up with a bruise for 3 weeks. So sledding it is.
White Christmas or palm trees?
Ooh, white Christmas.
You gotta have the snow.
I like this weather. I'm one of the few.
Snow globes or snow angels?
Snow angels. I don't mind getting wet in that snow. I like it.
Eggnog or hot chocolate?
Hot chocolate.
Hot chocolate or hot coffee?
Hot coffee. As you like hot coffee, I know that.
A lot hot coffee or hot toddy?
Ooh, hot toddy.
You gotta have a little Christmas cheer. Musicals or plays?
Musicals. That's what we do.
Of course. Santa or Grinch?
Oh, wow. Santa, because Santa is going to be on our concert, as a matter of fact.
How did you score Santa? Because he's a very busy man.
I know he is. He's in Noto this weekend. He's like everywhere. 2 days before Christmas, you'd think he'd be too busy, but TPAC has a lot of pull. So he is going to be there, and he's going to take pictures with anybody who wants after the show is over. So yeah, we got everything at this concert.
Musicals are your passion.
Yeah.
Why are all the dice squits dying? That is the show that I actually got to see you on Broadway in A Gentleman's Guide to Love and Murder, which was so fun. You're part of a Tony Award-winning production.
Yes.
Did they give you a statue though?
No, they don't. When you're a part of a Tony Award-winning show, they don't get. They should give you like a little mini one.
Not everybody, just the producers get them.
Yeah, that's right.
How was that to be part of something that successful and something new that's successful?
Yeah, it was tremendous because we were like the little engine that could. You know, we were this obscure little British comedy that nobody knew anything about, and then we won the Tony Award, and that was a tremendous experience that I was so glad to be a part of.
Did you find you liked something that was a new show building from the ground up versus something that's established like a Les Mis or a Tootsie?
Yeah, and that's what you want. You want to create something brand new. That's what I think any artist wants.
Derek Schmidt has spent more than 2 decades in public office, elected to the Kansas Senate in 2000 and as Attorney General in 2010. His unsuccessful challenge to incumbent Governor Laura Kelly means that time soon comes to an end. Before he leaves office, though, Derek Schmidt is here with us in the studio today, and thank you very much for being here. We appreciate that.
It's great to be back. Thanks, Melissa.
So looking back at the election, do you have any regrets about how the campaign was run? What are your thoughts in this kind of post-mortem period when it comes to that?
You know, somebody asked me that the other day, and I said, well, of course I regret that I lost. But besides that, no. I mean, I feel like we made a good contribution to the public dialogue. I wish that both campaigns would have been able to have a little more of an engaged discussion about some of the longer-term chronic issues facing the state. But that's just not where we are in our public discourse right now, not just in Kansas, but generally in the country. It's very difficult to get attention for those longer, more thoughtful discussions. But beyond that reflection, I feel good about the race we ran, and I wish the state very well. Wish Governor Kelly well in her next 4 years.
Will we see you running for office again?
Oh my goodness, you better talk to my wife about that. I think she might have had about enough. I don't know what the future holds. We don't have any plans at this point to run for anything again, but we'll figure out what comes next. And I don't plan to sort of leave the scene. We would like to continue to serve in some way.
So no job announcement that you're ready to make yet either?
No job announcements,
okay.
No.
So you lost the election. You know that your time is winding down, but you have been very busy, at least in terms of media releases we've been getting in the newsroom. We just got one today finalizing the big opioid settlement. So how many companies have we settled with, and what does it mean for the state? Right.
So I think we're right at, it's either 8 or 10 that we've settled with at this point. So far, the total recoveries are not quite up to $300 million. I think there are maybe a couple more. We're trying to get things sort of finished up on that front before I leave office here in about a month. This has been major litigation, as you know. This is the second largest piece of state-led litigation in the history of the United States, behind the tobacco litigation back in the 1990s. It's been immensely more complex than the tobacco litigation because of the involvement of so many other public parties, cities and counties, other entities. In Kansas, I think we've been a model for the country. We were able to sit down across the table with our local governments, cities and counties, private plaintiffs, work things out. We haven't had that sort of fighting among different public entities. Everybody agreed we want to maximize the recovery for Kansas so we can maximize the resources available to deal with addiction mitigation and treatment and prevention. And that's what we're doing. So I feel very good about where we're headed with this.
How much have you been coordinating with incoming Attorney General Chris Kobach? Because we've also seen some new litigation that you have signed on behalf of the state of Kansas, including the Title 42 immigration policy and whether or not that should continue. There could be some thought saying that, you know what, you're leaving office, why are you getting the state on the hook for these things? Or have you been consulting with Mr. Kobach about this, and where do you feel that is your obligation to continue these sorts of things? Yeah,
two answers to that. Yes, we have been consulting. We've talked many times, and our teams have talked as well. We want to ensure a smooth transition to my successor who the voters have chosen, and we're going to do our absolute best to make that happen, and I know he and his team are as well. I feel good about where we are on that. The other part of the answer, and I don't mean this to sound glib, just to state an obvious truth, is that I am the Attorney General for Kansas until the 9th, and those still are my responsibility to make those decisions.
Into girls' sports.
I want to follow up on a comment that you made in the debate we hosted last week with our sister station, KWCH. You said that as Attorney General, you would seek to ban ballot drop-off boxes. Why?
Because we already have a crime in Kansas, and we should take it seriously, and that is the crime of ballot harvesting. And that means you can't drop off more than 10 ballots of somebody else. So I can't, it's against the law for anyone to drop off, 11 or more ballots. If you have drop boxes, though, a person can drop off hundreds of ballots and no one will know the difference because there's no one there to see who's dropping off the ballot. So if we really take seriously our law against ballot harvesting, we should get rid of the drop boxes.
Should we get rid of mailing then as well? Because who knows how many ballots somebody's taking to the post office.
In theory, you could do that, but usually ballot harvesting doesn't occur through the mailboxes. They usually do it either the time it takes or the cost of the postage or whatever reason. The cases we've seen of ballot harvesting, they usually use drop boxes. But you're right, that is an alternative, but I think it's a less useful one for the fraudsters.
Abortion laws, there are still several lawsuits pending there. Of course, we just had the vote on the constitutional amendment, the Value Them Both Amendment, a resounding no vote on that. When it comes to those regulations that we have in the books, to what extent would you go about defending or challenging on either side?
I think this is a big difference between me and my opponent. My opponent has said that he doesn't want to spend the resources of the Attorney General's office defending those existing laws we have on the subject of abortion. And my view is we have to defend those. It is the Attorney General's duty to defend them. And these are reasonable laws that the vast majority of Kansans agree with. Let me give you 3 examples. One is the law requiring a minor to have parental consent to obtain an abortion. Another is preventing late-term abortions. And the third is preventing public funding of abortions. I think the vast majority of Kansans agree those are reasonable restrictions, and they should be defended, and I will defend them.
Chris Kobach, the Republican candidate for Attorney General. A lot of issues will be at stake on the November ballot. We appreciate you coming here to discuss just a few of those. I know we've said with every candidate who's visited, we could have an extended conversation that takes up the entire half hour. So we appreciate you being here for a few minutes. Maxton Prill has been through a lot in his young life, and he hasn't forgotten everyone who helped him through it. That's why Santa Max is here today with his dad, Eric Prill, to catch us up on their efforts. Welcome to both of you. Glad to have you here.
Glad to be here.
Max, how old are you now?
I am 11 years old.
Wow. It's been a long time that you've
has.
been doing this. How many years have you been performing as Santa?
8 years actually. This is our 8th year doing this.
And what is it that you do?
Well, every year we raise money to buy toys to take to the hospital. We don't just buy toys, we also buy comfort items to make the stay at the hospital a little better.
Now, Max, you have a very personal reason that started all of this. What is your story? Why did you decide this was something you wanted to do?
Well, when I was younger, I had cancer, and it just is a stressful situation to be in, especially being in the hospital, and especially around Christmas, you don't want to be very stressed out.
How old were you when you had cancer?
I got diagnosed when I was 2 and ended treatment when I was 5.
When you were 5. So you remember a little bit of it.
Yeah.
Did you ever have to spend any holidays in the hospital?
No, but I remember one time when I thought I might have had to spend the Christmas over the hospital.
Over the holiday.
Yeah,
How sad
holidays.
did that make you?
That made me kind of worried because I love Christmas. It's my favorite time of the year.
Well, we have some pictures actually that illustrate his dad. Eric, you sent me some pictures of how long Max has been doing this. I mean, you were a little younger there, Max.
Yes, I was.
Eric, I'm going to ask your dad a question. I know you said you were doing the talking this time, but we're going to let Dad answer a question too. What has this meant to you, this journey, to see Max develop and really take this on?
Well, we started Maxton's Fight because of the kindness that people showed us when we went through our ordeal and Max went through his ordeal. And people were so nice to us and reached out and supported us in such ways that we wanted to do the same thing. And every year, you know, the toy drive was Max's idea, and he really has been the one that has spearheaded it. So we're really proud to be able to continue to support people in Northeast Kansas and in the Topeka area, but even more proud, obviously, that Max is the one that really has been, you know, driving the sleigh, so to speak.
Maybe not quite yet. You're only 11. You don't have a license to drive the sleigh yourself. What can people do right now, Max, to help you make this year's drive a success?
Well, the easiest way is to donate money to our website, maxtonsfight.org, or to our Facebook page. But if you would really like to, you can drop off a toy in one of our many locations.
And I do have a graphic that shows the locations, folks, where some of your toys are being collected. There are a lot of them, Max. How did you get all these partners?
A lot of emails.
You know the marketing side of the biz. So what are some of these locations people can drop toys in bins?
Well, you can drop off at Spin Pizza, Sport Clips. Actually, for Sport Clips, they announced today, if you bring in a toy to donate, they will, for free, make your haircut an MVP, which means just getting a back massage and your hair washed.
That's a pretty good deal. That's a pretty good deal.
Other notable ones are Azura Credit Union, Blue Moose, and SCCA.
SCC offices down at Forbes Field. And then once you get all these toys collected, by December 21st, you want people to either donate or bring in the toys. Then what happens after that, Max?
Well, then we'll wrap some of the gifts, and then on the 22nd, we'll take all the gifts down to the hospital, take them up to the peds floor, and donate them.
How fun is that?
It's pretty fun, especially walking around in my Santa suit.
What kind of reactions do you get?
Everybody's like, "Oh my gosh, you're so cute!"
You still do have that cute face thing going for you. But more than that, Max, what does it mean to you, and what is your message to some of the other kids that you see there as someone who's been there himself?
Well, you just got to have hope. There is some stressful stuff to it, but if you just hope and make fun out of it, like try to keep your hopes up.
Absolutely. Well, Max, you have a fantastic message. You have a very nice young man here, and I appreciate getting to see you again. And everyone, donate your toys so that Max has a lot to wrap. Do you do the wrapping?
Yeah. Well, actually, some of my mom, because I'm not the best at rapping.
Shout out to Mom for her rapping talents, and also shout out to Berryton Elementary and all your
Yes.
classmates there who I'm sure are watching you today. Thanks for coming in, and everyone support Maxton's Fight. Again, maxtonsfight.org is how you can do a monetary donation to support their efforts for this and for what they do all year round. Max, Eric, thanks so much for coming in.
Thanks for having me.
Merry
Thanks for having
Christmas,
us.
Santa. Appreciate that.